Thanks for coming out. So I'm just gonna, we have 5 panelists, but 2 of them are running a little late, so that's okay. So I'm just gonna let the panelists that are here now introduce themselves and say a little bit about themselves.
Okay, sorry. Hello, my name is Joe Stanley. I'm the Director of International Programs here at Simmons. I've been here for just about under a year, and my office oversees all outbound study abroad, whether it's a traditional semester, academic year, or summer overseas, as well as our portfolio of travel courses, where our faculty members develop with my office content-based courses that are actually delivered abroad, anywhere between 2 weeks and 6 weeks. We also oversee international student services, as well as globalizing the on-campus curriculum. So that's who I am.
I'm Lisa Hussey. Many of you know me. I'm one of the professors at SLIS. And I will actually be doing the Yonsei program this summer, and I've done it 2 previous times, and hence the cookies, but also I have brought props that I will talk about later.
She had left mine at home. I'm Michèle Cloonan. I'm a professor. I too have been to Yonsei, and I coordinate international initiatives with Ron Tang, co-advise SCIRTT.
Hi, I'm Maggie Anderson. I'm a student here at SLIS. I'm also the Dean's Fellow for International Initiatives and Events Coordination, which means that I am helping plan the study abroad program for Lisa this year, and I've been working with Michèle on a few different international projects, one of which has been to compile a list of other programs that SLIS students can apply for transfer credit to go on, offered by other ALA-accredited LIS institutions.
Remind me what you want me to talk about.
Jazz hands.
Just a little bit about our relationship
With Yonsei?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There's so much I could talk about with international initiatives. About 8 years ago, when IFLA was held in Seoul, Korea, the International Federation of Library Associations, I met with Jian Lee, who at that time was chair of their Information Studies program, and we talked about the opportunity to collaborate. So we came up with a 3-pronged program. One, we would have students back and forth. 2, we would partner on research initiatives. And 3, we would have a joint degree program opportunity. So the first, with the programs back and forth, since 2009 maybe, we've had Simmons students go to Yonsei, and a Simmons faculty member has gone over there and taught a class, and the class has Yonsei and Simmons students in it. And I'd say you now have the prize for going there the most, but Professors Claudia Morner, Kathy Wisser, some adjunct faculty, one other person and I have all taught over there. And the classroom experience is combined with field trips and opportunities to interact with information professionals in Korea, plus the Yonsei students. With the joint degree program, we've had 1 or 2 students from Yonsei each year get a degree here. You can get a course reduction if you do the 2 programs, and for them it's advantageous because we're ALA accredited, so if they have our degree plus their degree, it gives them opportunities to work in Canada and the United States. For our students, I always thought it would be an interesting foothold into Asia, and also a little bit novel to have a degree from an Asian university, you know, on your dossier, because if you want to work anywhere internationally, that would be a very good credential to have. Well, we've only had one of our students study over there, and she's finishing up the program right now. She'll be back in December. And what was wonderful is Yonsei came up with full support for her, tuition, dormitory, and she's been involved in some research initiatives, which she's also earned money for on top of the support she's gotten to go to the program. They are offering the same thing for next year, so if any of you are almost finished with the program and want to study in Seoul next year, this is your opportunity. And I think that's it. For the first time this year, we had Yonsei students come to take a class here. I mentioned that we have had 1 or 2 Yonsei students each year independently to get their masters with us, but we haven't had a class of students come here, which is basically flipping what we do over at Yonsei. So I think that's pretty much the components of the Yonsei program.
Thanks, Michelle. Jim, did you want to talk a little bit about what you do when you study abroad?
Yeah, sure. I guess for the purposes of this session, I'll talk more about our travel course program, and I won't get too much into the scope of the course or the parameters of the learning objectives, but more kind of the pragmatic side of things. So my office oversees kind of the online application database. So when you are interested in applying for this particular program, I'll be working with Maggie to set up this online application so you can go online. You can start, it's really asking for some basic information, like kind of like your emergency contact information. You'll likely be required to answer maybe a personal statement essay question, underscoring how this particular program or travel course resonates with your academic and professional goals. We'll also make sure, we do a background check regarding any disciplinary or academic issues you may have on your record. We also work on pre-departure matters as well in terms of health and safety. Prior to all of our travel courses going overseas, my office will sit down with a professor and a group of students just to kind of go over some of the health and safety procedures, emergency action protocol, again, in a highly unlikely event of a crisis occurring overseas. But I know outside of travel courses, students traditionally, from SLIS at least, have pursued opportunities, I think, with UNC. They have their own travel courses. Actually, 2 of my grad interns right now are looking at travel course or short-term customized summer programs for our graduate students here that we'll be advertising on our website in the near future. So if you have any interest at all in international study, whether it be for the summer, something that's more short customized, please feel free to schedule an appointment with me or one of my colleagues. We are located in Main College Building, E104, right at the very, very end of the East Wing. And really, we kind of maintain an open door policy as well. And again, I don't want to step on the toes of my colleagues too much, but we do offer, the travel course programs not only in Yonsei, but traditionally gone to Paris and Rome. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We have in affiliation with St. John's University. Yep, and we have gone to Nicaragua, and then I've had individual students go with me to the Middle East. So we've had a variety of things, and we're right now, we have a course on the books that I'm in the process of revising the text for that would allow an individual faculty member to bring students abroad for a study course. We wrote it for the Nicaragua program and then haven't used it since.
And maybe just to kind of give a brief overview too, the college is about to publish its new 5-year Strategy 2020 campaign. For the undergraduate student body, they've just embarked on a new undergraduate general education curriculum, and both of those 2 initiatives feature globalization quite prominently. So it's, I guess, a very exciting time to be at Simmons College, and we are increasing our staff. We're looking for opportunities for our graduate students and undergraduate students, and again, not to beat it at horse, but please feel free to stop in my office or schedule a call. If you're online viewing this session electronically, I schedule lots of Skype conversations with our online students and students who are currently overseas. So we really do maintain an open door policy. I hope that is.
That was great. Yeah. Is there anything, I guess we'll get to questions later, but I was thinking, is there anything that students who are looking to study abroad in Yonsei should be doing now to get ready in terms of like passports or anything like that?
In terms of passports, I think we still have plenty of time because my understanding the course is starting in August for it's about 2 weeks. So I think the first step will be me and Maggie sitting down to kind of go over the parameters of the program, start putting together our advertising, kind of a marketing material, the online application, and then we can on the handout as well as the online material, we can include next steps in terms of visas, what to be mindful of. But I think, the beginning parts of the application would be the most appropriate next step for the students who are interested in going. And I will say one last thing, if I can. I'm really impressed. We had this past academic year about 120 students go abroad in some capacity, and close to half of those were graduate students. So we are quite low when it comes to our undergraduate demographic going overseas to pursue an education abroad opportunity, but we're really good when it comes to graduate opportunities. So I just wanted to thank our SLIS colleagues here because, I basically set up the online application, but you guys do all the hard work.
So my turn. Maggie will tell you, but I'm actually incredibly enthusiastic about the on-site program. So please, keep that in mind if you say if there's any downsides. I'm gonna say, no, there's not.
Well, we could probably come up with one. The humidity.
Okay. You're right. But, everything is so air conditioned.
That's true.
That's the other thing. And the other thing is you do need to walk. But it's one of these things that I'll tell you the first time that I went over, I was, kind of just told by Terry, oh, you're doing Yonsei this summer. I'm like, oh, no, I said I wanted to do it at some time, but okay. Knew nothing about Korea. Never even had Korea on my map, for someplace I wanted to go. I have fallen in love with Korea. It's an absolutely wonderful place. The people at Yonsei are just absolutely lovely. The students have been wonderful. I can kind of, you can tell I can go on and on about
And
this.
the nightlife.
Oh God, yes, the nightlife and the food and the cultural institution. It just, one of my favorite parts was geeking out about the archive at the Yonsei Museum. Seriously, geeking out. Everybody was there. I was like, oh my God, this is so neat. They still have little flat map things. They have all these amazing paintings. They have these artifacts that go back thousands of years. It's just, that's what's at Yonsei University. That's not what's at the museums, like at the palaces. So there's a whole nother, range of some of these things. The classes actually have always been, I think the classes have always gone fairly well. They're taught in English before anybody freaks out, because I can't speak Korean. I've been over there twice now and I can say thank you. Samida. That's the extent of my Korean. So that's kind of a helpful piece of it, but it's also really kind of a neat opportunity to learn something like this. This year we'll be doing Management 404, Principles of Management, and to learn some of these things in the context of not just American libraries, to understand how some of these concepts are understood in Korea, in what is actually a very different culture than the U.S. And have some idea about, things, where you have a culture that's not quite so individualistic. So what role does privacy play in some things? And how do people view, the family as opposed to the individual? And these are things that kind of play into some of it. And then we can also talk about, there's also things about communication. And this, I'm not just talking about language, because, obviously, communication issues with Americans and Koreans would be, I don't know language. Although so many people there speak English. But I was going to say it's other things like, just having a sense of, proper body language, or what's important about, deferring to people based on age or rank, or, some of these things. And it's really kind of interesting to learn these things within the context of a foreign university, at their university. And the university itself is incredibly interesting because it was set up by American missionaries, John Severance and his wife, I believe, because last time around, I actually went and saw their house, which was really kind of neat. But it's, and it's a private university because they also have a public university in Korea. And, it's an interesting setup because it's still very different than how I want to say to some degree, see higher education here in the U.S. as compared to, how it's viewed there, or how people kind of approach some of it there. So you learn, I will tell you this much, you will learn as much from being there and working with the students than you will learn in the content of the class. It's kind of one of the more, it's one of the things that I think is one of the bigger drivers for this, because, yes, you can take principles of management at any time. But when are you going to get a chance to do it with people who have this, basically two groups of people that have can have such different cultural views on a concept. You know, and a chance to actually do things like possibly visit the National Library of Korea. You know, and to actually see the extent of the Korean history. They have 2 beautiful palaces within Seoul, actually probably more than 2, but I'm thinking of the 2.
2 biggies.
Yeah. One is the UNESCO historical site, the other one actually has the National Folk Art Museum. And literally, they're on like busy streets and you get into the palaces, you have no idea that you're in the middle of a city. Where else can you do, you can't do that in Boston. I mean, you're in the Commons, you still know you're in the middle of the city. There, you could hear anything. And you can see the depths of this history, you know, again, in America, we like to think we have history. That's cute. You know, when you compare it to some, you know, to some other cultures. And where Yonsei is, you know, there's actually a great place for food nearby called Sinchon. One subway step up is a really great place for nightlife. It's near one of the other universities. There's an area of town called Itaewon that's actually known for being full of expats. A lot of foreigners live there, so that area kind of has a different feel. There's a museum of the Korean War, which is, I want to say it was breathtaking and humbling to go and see it. And by the way, that one is free. Yeah, there was actually no charge. Actually, none of the palaces are expensive to get into either. You're talking like $5 or something like that. You know, but I mean, you get this great sense of things like that. And of course, I mean, there's fun areas too where you can do. Great place to go shopping is Insadong. If you want to get a lot of, you know, I want to say touristy things. And then of course there is baseball. This is actually the travel mug from the the LG Twins, who have their team in Seoul. And both times I've gone to baseball games. And if you're a baseball fan and you think Fenway is one of the most rowdy places you've been, again, cute.
In fact, one of the Yonsei students this summer asked me why there wasn't a cheer for each of the players on the website.
They actually do. They have cheers and songs for every single player.
Yeah.
And they actually have in the park, you sit on the home or the away side. You know, I mean, they actually have it set up like that. And they, you know, I have the thing about Hello Kitty, but 2, I just thought it was awesome to, you know, pick up a travel mug that was actually for the LG Twins. That was, you know, kind of a part of things. But I can tell you that if you come with Yonsei, one of your options will be to go to a baseball game, because I will be going to a baseball game. Because it really is an experience in and of itself. This guy is actually just a little animated creature that they have that gets dressed up in all sorts of things. I like the bee, but you could also get him as a strawberry or a flower or just a little white puff. And like I said, at the National Museum, or not the National Library, when we were there, they had a great display going on at the time about the history of Korean animation. So you got a lot of the history of those things. And again, the National Museum in and of itself, or National Library, was kind of amazing. That was a part of it. And I mean, I can just go on and on about all the wonders. And when we do actually have something specifically for the Yonsei, then you'll get some pictures too, in addition to everything. But this is really an amazing opportunity. I mean, it really is on a lot of levels. How many of you have traveled to Asia before? Yeah, I was going to say, this is, you know, I mean, this is an opportunity to go to a place where perhaps you don't feel confident about where you're going. We don't share an alphabet. You know, speaking Korean is not really that common unless you have Korean ancestry here in the United States. We don't have like a lot of classes on it. It's easy to maybe feel like this wouldn't be a place you'd feel comfortable or welcome. Now let me tell you, the Korean people are lovely. They are wonderful. You know, they're helpful, and again, the food, oh, so amazing. If you've had a Korean food in the U.S., yeah, you have not experienced Korean food yet. But there's, like I said, it's just a lot of opportunities for learning. There's a lot of opportunities for fun. If you like K-pop, chances are you can find a concert while we're there. Or, you can just turn on the TV. There's a lot of that as well. Yeah. But I was going to say, and for this coming trip, we're hoping that it's going to set up that we'll have 3 weekends, and I'm hoping maybe in the last weekend we'll be able to go down to the coast for a day. That's still in the planning. I don't know how well that'll work out because that'll depend on cost. But I mean, there's also the opportunity if people are interested to go up and see the DMZ between North and South Korea. I mean, that's something that we can plan ahead of time to do. The first year when people did that, they thought it was, really kind of interesting. It takes an entire day because you pretty much get loaded onto buses and you don't get off the buses until you get to the border. Actually, on the American side, those kinds of things, or the American side, the South Korean side, or the American base, or whatever, something related to that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can learn, a lot of things you can do, and it really is a fun time. Yes, the humidity sucks. But if you're here last summer, yeah, the humidity sucks. And we're not anywhere near as well set up for air conditioning as they are in Seoul. I can actually guarantee you that one. And their subway system, so much nicer.
Oh, how could that be?
Yeah, really. And you want to know something impressive? At rush hour, people stand in lines. And when the train is full, they don't cram in, they stop. It blew my mind. I was like, what? And they say, literally, it's one line so people can get off on the other side of it. Imagine. It's kind of freaky. They also have an amazing area of arts museums. They have some cultural centers, like there's one with a music cultural center. There's a fabulous Buddhist temple that does tours in English once a week. I've also done that both times, so it's very neat because you don't just have the tour, you have a tea ceremony, you create a lotus flower, and you actually do meditation with one of the Buddhist monks. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, not just for the class, but for learning about culture and just learning about a lot of different ways of life, and a very interesting place to go. But I'll stop now so people can ask questions and I can stop babbling. Because when it comes to Korea, I do that.
Well, I can talk about the logistical side. And it won't take this long. And it won't be as interesting, so I'll keep it short. So I am helping Lisa plan this trip, and I'm going to help do the budget so that I can give you guys an estimated cost. I'm assuming a lot of you have that question of the cost. The last time this trip went, it was in 2013, and the student cost was around $3,300, I believe, and that is the cost of the trip to Asia. It was the cost of your flight, your dorm accommodation, which was pretty reasonable, maybe a couple of meals, but on the whole you'll be responsible for feeding yourself, which I feel like is a little bit more fun than having a meal plan. But for a welcome farewell dinner, you would ask for that cost up front. Maybe the price of admission to certain cultural institutions, if it makes sense for us to buy them as a group package, which would give a bigger discount in the end, things like that. There's also a travel insurance fee and an administrative fee from the colleges of the Fenway City program. I don't know their official name. And by the time of our info session, which I'm hoping will be in early November, I'm hoping, because Lisa has to go for a couple of weeks in November, I will have that estimated information. The application we're hoping to have ready by the end of the semester, so that people can have time to look at it. It's going to be a very standard application. You'll have to have the GPA, the no outstanding restrictions. There's no fee to apply, and then we'll probably have the application due by February 1st. And then we'll ask you to submit a deposit for the trip probably around 2 weeks later. That's the plan right now. I can confirm all that at the info session. So that's all I have to say about Yonsei right now. And then, well, after that, I will help plan your itinerary. So I'll help see if I can book buses to the DMZ, which sounds so cool. Like, even booking the buses is exciting. And things like that, so we can try to plan you the best trip possible that both allows you to explore Seoul and Korea on your own and gives Lisa the opportunity to show, obviously, her incredible expertise and enthusiasm for Seoul. I think you're going with a really good professor who wants to have a lot of fun, so that's really exciting. The other thing that I've been working on is I've been compiling this list of other travel courses offered by other institutions, and I have a list of them here. Here's the thing about other travel courses. Just so everyone knows, Dean Em Claire Knowles is running a little late, and she can give a little bit more information on this, but in order, SLIS students can study abroad. You have to do it in line with your program here, and students generally plan to do this in the summer because it's easier to do a travel course then if you're trying to do a full course load in the spring or fall semesters. There are restrictions on the number of travel courses you can do, and there are restrictions on Em Claire and her department will decide whether or not they can accept specific travel courses from other universities. The coursework has to be similar to ours. It has to seem, of the same value that SLIS offers. So right now I have 11 courses that Em Claire and I have been talking about, and we agree they look really exciting. She hasn't been able to fully give her approval to them. So these are in addition to the courses listed on the petition to travel sheet that is outside the Student Services Office that also lists, I think, 5 or 6 travel courses offered by different institutions.
Oh, we were just talking about you.
Oh, here she is. So on this sheet, we have a lot of trips to the UK, like a surprising amount. So if you're interested in cathedrals or the monarchy, you have a lot of options. There's other trips to Europe. There's not that many to South America. There's not that many to Africa. There's not that many to Asia. So go to Yonsei with us.
Is the Prague program going this summer?
Yeah. The ones we can tell you we accept are UNC goes to Prague and to London, and those are both, I believe, 2-week trips. Pratt in New York goes to Florence and to London. Pratt is more of a cultural heritage track if you're interested in things like that. And then the University of Washington has a trip to Ghana, which I'm not sure is going this year. Yeah. So again, I have this basic information, but I'm still trying to figure out which courses are going this year, application due dates, things like that. So take a look at this. I have enough copies for everyone. And if you're interested in something, I put my email address on here, and I can send you the exact website, more information. If you email me, I'm going to also tell you to speak with Dean Knowles to get permission, but I'd be happy to share this with you. I gave them.
Did you talk about some of the new ones that were exciting?
They are really excited. I told them to not get too excited because we still need to approve them. But for anyone who are any of you first semester students at SLIS? Okay, great. So the one that I found the most exciting myself is a trip that is not going this winter, but is going next winter. It's a 2-week trip to South Africa. And the course focuses on information, literacy, and understanding around AIDS, and how factual information about AIDS is disseminated through different communities, along with misinformation in South Africa. I was able to speak to a student who went on the trip and just glowed about it. If any of you were at the SCIRTT dinner a few weeks ago, I also talked about it then because I just think it's so unique and different.
Is that the University of Missouri?
It's the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Yeah. And then I said a lot of them are going to the UK, which is interesting.
Well, there was another one that we're just investigating. Well, there's two that I looked up today that were quite exciting. One was with the University of North Texas, and that one was going to Belfast, Galway, and another place in Ireland. And it was about collecting information on oppression and just trying to understand the difference, the troubles that have been going on in Ireland. Then Syracuse University is organizing two sort of information tech programs, and one of them is called Eurotech, and it's for 10 cities that you would go to see how technology is being developed in new ways in these various cities in Europe. And the other one was Asia Tech, and it was going to 4 major cities there. So it was going to Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Bangkok. Now the whole thing about these things, she says about the deadlines are almost like on us. And these two, the programs at Syracuse, they're really, even though they're travel courses, they're traveling next summer, but there's a lot of upfront preparatory work that needs to be going on during the spring semester. So you'd have to figure that out with your financial aid. Did you mention that part? To the financial aid, because if you go during the summer, you might consider talking to your financial aid counselor to see if this travel course can be incorporated as part of your financial aid. So if you're taking this course and another course, some of these programs are 3 credits or 6 credits. So that might be another way to help you fund your opportunity. And there's so much more! So, stay tuned.
Claire, I brought it, but I didn't feel totally informed about the restrictions about how many travel courses you can do for transfer credit.
Well, it's not more than 6 credits.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple of programs. University of Southern Mississippi, and that one is to London. It's a 6-credit program. There was one in Florence.
There's a few in Florence.
That might be 6 credits.
Mm-hmm.
And this one one of the courses I just talked about was there was another program to Germany, was 6 credits, but most of them are just 3 credits.
Which also might affect your discussion with your financial aid officer, because your financial aid might have a credit minimum that you need to meet.
Right, and actually that's a good point. If you need to take 2 courses this summer for your financial aid, we schedule this trip so you can complete the full summer semester here before you would go to Korea. I think we're going you're going.
Yeah.
I wish I were going. July 31st or something like that, whatever the Friday is.
The first class in Korea will be August 1st, which is a Monday.
Okay, so then people will be leaving like the 29th or 28th or something
But the
like that.
coursework will start.
Yeah, we'll actually start
Earlier,
online earlier.
But the point is, it won't interfere with your if you're doing a face-to-face course this summer, this won't interfere with that. And we do have mini courses in the summer too. So it would be very possible for you to take 2 courses this summer if you need to do 2 courses this summer.
Do you have any questions?
How long is the Yonsei program, the summer program?
So the question was, how long is the
Yeah.
program? I'm just
Oh yeah, how
repeating
long
it
does
for
it
myself.
last? It starts at 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Oh,
two-
it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. We're trying to have 3 weekends built in. So
Okay.
you would arrive on a Thursday or a Friday, recover, explore your area a little bit, start classes on a Monday. Your class for the first week will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the second week will be Tuesday and Thursday. So you'll have that weekend in between, and then the following weekend. And then you would probably go back on that Monday, which I think would be the August, 15th? Yeah. Okay.
And one of the other things is that on some of the off days, we'll be, hopefully scheduling some of the trips, like if we can go to the National Library of Korea, that would happen on one of the days when there wasn't class.
How long would the online course, like what?
It would start, my plan, right now, keep in mind we're in October, would be to start July 1st, and I would have 4 online classes, like 1 a week. So it wouldn't be overwhelming. If you're already taking the classes, it wouldn't be like something like suddenly you couldn't do it. But it's to make sure that you don't One of the reasons why I do it that way is so that when we get to Korea, you're literally not spending all of your time just doing the classwork, because what would the point be if that was the only thing we were doing? So it'd be set up so that there'd basically be 4 online classes before we went, and then 5 there. And that would, the 4 online would actually cover a little bit more than perhaps, you know, 1 online class normally does, so that we can make sure we cover the full topic. But like I said, at no point will it be overwhelming in comparison to if you're taking another class. It won't be the kind of thing like you won't enjoy Korea because you're just dead from trying to keep up for the work.
So I had a question about the transfer credits. You said that only 6 study abroad credits can count towards your degree. If you're a dual degree student, do you get more than that? I want to go abroad twice, is what I'm trying to say. And one of the programs I'm looking at is 3 and the other is 6. So can I do both?
What program are you in?
I'm in Archives and History.
Okay, so the credits for history, you talked to history about.
Okay.
And it's 6 credits for library and information science, so I'm only worrying about those.
All right.
I thought you were gonna say children's literature. I have to think
That's the
about that one,
problem.
okay, so it's both in the same school.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Just as a general, outside of financial aid, is there a lot of support in figuring out how to help fund if you maybe don't get direct financial aid, or is it really just kind of like you're on your own to pull it out of your pocket?
Unfortunately, SLIS can't offer that much support to its students. We can't. So it is going to be on you to pursue extra funding, extra financial aid for that semester, things like that. I think.
Yeah, I know on our website we'll soon have kind of a how to create a crowdfunding site or Kickstarter site, because a lot of our nursing students, for example, will pursue an alternate spring break, and they do amazing jobs raising the money. So we're actually kind of using them as using their resources, and we'll create kind of a to-do list on how to get started. I think it's just a great idea, and Maggie already mentioned this. Schedule an appointment with your financial aid advisor sooner rather than later to talk about, you know, whether it's unsubsidized Stafford loans you need to take out or Grad Plus loans to pay for it. The $3,300, I'm assuming, does not cover tuition, correct?
It does not
Yeah,
cover
that's
tuition.
important to make note of. And, you know, because this is such a unique opportunity, you know, I'll handle the deposit and payment and invoicing side of things. Because it's a great opportunity, you know, I've been working very closely with our bursar to make sure that we can schedule flexible payment plans when it comes to the travel fee portion. So, you know, if you want to schedule an appointment with me as we get closer to the February 1st application deadline, I would strongly encourage you to do so we can start that conversation early on.
Yes, on a funding question, do you know if it's possible to use AmeriCorps Civil Education Awards for these trips?
Yeah, I'll defer to my colleagues here, but I think the financial aid office would be the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are students eligible to use some of the funds that they have through LISA for this trip?
No, it's for professional development, meaning for a
Well, if they went
conference
to a meeting or
and
over
anything that
there.
gets credits. Oh, well, if they went to a meeting, you know, that would be something else. They're gonna be limited on how much they get. It's like going to be
Right.
not more than $225, but.
But I know that, like, for example, there's a conference at Yonsei in December. There's a Korean Archives Association, and they have meetings, so it's not impossible that you'd have an opportunity for professional development while you're there. Just
Any-
depends what's going on.
The professional development funds support no opportunity that you're looking for credit. So it has to be some other type of additional experience. So registration for a conference would work.
I had a question about the accommodations. Were those on campus or?
You are in the dorms.
And so are we, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't last time that I was.
Yeah.
A different.
Yeah,
dorm
you're
than the
actually, it
students
is
are.
on the campus, and one of the things is that there is actually a curfew. They have to be in by midnight. However, one of the really nice things about Seoul, they have these like hostels everywhere that are basically that if you're out past a certain time, you can literally pay to use a bed and a bath.
That's interesting.
And students
yeah.
did it last time, and they went out and had fun, and then crashed for a night and had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually not that uncommon that, if you're going out and spend the night out, that you don't always want to get on just in general, get on the train and get home. Sometimes it's easier just to find one of these places. And by the way, it's not like some seedy motel. They're actually kind of, they're nice places, but it's literally that you can go and, kind of crash for a little while before you head home or head back to someplace.
And they sound very cheap, too.
Yeah.
$15, $20 maybe.
Now, Seoul is one of the safest places in the world to go to, so that's what's kind of.
And cheap, inexpensive
And, yeah,
for a major
it's-
city.
Yeah, actually, the food really isn't expensive, and like I said, just to give you an idea, I don't like vegetables. I eat almost everything they put in front of me in Korea. I eat more vegetables in Korea than I've eaten in my entire life in Korea, so they're doing something right there. If they're getting me to actually be like, oh, look, food, and look, green stuff, and I want to eat it.
I guess a follow-up question about accommodations, are they double rooms, triple rooms, single rooms?
They're usually double rooms.
With SLIS.
With SLIS students, yeah. And there's also, I know that as it gets closer, talk about good things to bring with you, things like a towel and some things like that. But I also know where the dollar stores are. I mean, I actually do. I know where a couple of them are at this point. So that, if you just want to buy a cheap towel to have over there and not have to bring home or not worry about what you're packing, those are things that are also easy to just get something smaller there. There's also a lot of like little marts and stuff so that you can have food. And actually, I know over in the dorms, last time, two of the students just would go to the little store in the dorms and buy the different ramens. And I know that sounds like they were wasting, but it was always interesting, like, oh, I tried this ramen and I tried this ramen, because they actually had, one of those water things where they could just get hot water near their dorms so they can make food that way. They
There are
actually
so
really.
many eating places on that campus.
Oh my God, yes, there are.
Even in the building where the classes are.
Yeah, there's where the classes are, there's a great cafeteria downstairs. In the student union, there's a bunch of different places to eat. Again, you walk off campus, there's tons of places there. And again, it's especially for those of you who are paying for food in Boston, wow, comparison-wise. It's like night and day between those two.
I know we were talking about other possible programs. Is the reverse true for Yonsei, where there might be students from another university in the program, or is it pretty much just Simmons?
It's pretty much just us, except when I taught there was a student from University of Rhode Island, and then they did have a program with University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, so I guess I had two students, one from Milwaukee and one from URI. I know that Dean Abels is really keen for us to have students from other universities this year, so
Yeah,
we will advertise it.
I'd say one of the things is that we haven't probably advertised it broad enough. It's not that we've been like, no, this is only Simmons students. I just don't think that we've necessarily opened it up as well as some of the other programs have. We would certainly be welcoming of other students as long as they fit the requirements.
That's something that I'm really focusing on as well, is advertising to other schools. SLIS students will get priority, I'm assuming, so don't worry. And then we're going to try to get other students from other universities.
Quick question. Are you capping the program at a certain number of students?
We've never had to cap it,
Yeah.
because Yonsei has the capacity. I mean, we'll never have 20 students, probably never have 15.
Okay, you say that. Well, we haven't had an issue of a cap yet. If it turns out that we're looking at numbers that are overwhelming, then we'll probably come and talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So apply early.
Yes. Like, I would actually be incredibly excited if everybody in this room wanted to go. Because again, I know that many of you guys are sitting. Yeah, because many of you guys are sitting there going, I don't want to get anywhere near this woman, but really, I'm very excited about this, as actually Professor Cloonan could tell you when she put the thing out. I had my SAN within an hour or something like that. Take my word for it, the enthusiasm spills over in really good ways. It's not quite as manic as you're seeing right here, right now, so.
Any other questions for the panel? Big round of applause for them. Thank you.